Going live now.
Okay. We are being live streamed. Wonderful. Okay, welcome everyone to the Mosier Community School Board of Directors on February 17th, 2026. Let's start with a round of introductions, please. This is Emily Strands, board chair.
Jen Langley, assistant principal. Marie Marie, board secretary. Tiffany Strands, board member.
Michelle Dawkins, executive director. Janet Baker, MTA.
Lisa Goddard, MPA.
McKenna McKee,
Board. Board.
awesome, but not board.
With an A. And could we please hear from Julia and then Shannon?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Julia Goodstefani. I'm vice chair of the board.
And I'm Shannon Veit. I am payroll manager.
Wonderful, thank you. Dan will be joining us. He's just going to be a few minutes late. And let's see, so for our agenda today, are there any additional items or any changes that need to be made?
Looks good.
Is that a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Great. Second from Tip. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion passes. Julia raised her hand. Oh, do we have a note taker today? Since we're making motions already.
Nose goes.
We could, one thing that I was thinking about earlier that might take more conversation than just right now, but we could try to use AI to do it since these meetings are recorded.
I'm in more meetings now where they're using it, so, and then what's really cool is then you just get it right there, right, and we got it, so.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I make a motion.
What do you, is that okay, do you think?
A question. I mean, I'm unclear if we have a secretary right now. I think that is problematic if we don't have a secretary for there's certain moments where you're supposed to go to the secretary. I don't recall all of them, but I'm just curious, or is Marie remaining the secretary, but just not doing the note taking? Just for clarity, like, do we have that office position filled, or should we be looking for someone to fill that position?
Yeah, so we had a meeting, I think it was in December, and the secretary role can delegate responsibilities. And in that meeting, it was discussed that we would rotate through board members. So I am board secretary. I would like to continue delegating the minute taking to other board members. There's the AI option, and there's also board books.
Yeah, and we had been pre-assigning, but just forgot. We had extra meetings that required extra asks. Dan, would you like to take the minutes today?
Okay.
Oh, great, thank you. Okay, so Dan's going to take minutes for us, thank you. We just had McKenna make a motion to approve the agenda, and Tiff seconded that, and everybody approved it.
Okay.
So we'll let you take a breath and get yourself situated. I will share out that I did not receive any pre-submitted public comments. Did any others?
No.
No, sorry, I just wanted to back up. Should we go ahead and say, I will go ahead and volunteer for March meeting to take the minutes.
That'd be awesome.
Just like if we could, it'd be nice,
Yeah,
the next meeting, we
ahead.
should do that when we, but we
Okay.
aren't, probably
planning.
next time.
Okay, so we'll have Dan today, thank you, Tiff next time, thank you, and then we'll figure out.
And I apologies that if I missed the nuance when we discussed this before, I do recall, and I appreciate the clarification. So like we have Marie remains secretary and fulfilling other secretary duties, but we're going to delegate out or rotate note taking, just to make sure I'm capturing that correctly.
Yeah, and maybe we should look into the AI as an option, because that might be a good way to go about it, depending on if there are any concerns.
Yeah, we could try to see about starting in March.
We could, if it's, but otherwise, if it doesn't work out, I'll be prepared to, I'll take it.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Okay, and no pre-submitted public comments. We've got a slew of minutes to approve. So we've got January regular session and the special session and the February special session. So starting first with the January regular board of directors meeting, were there any additional edits that folks needed on that? Or are we okay to approve it?
I would make a motion that we approve the January regular meeting minutes as given to us prior to the
Great, thanks. A second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor? Good, thank you. What about the special session in January? Any changes needed there? I thought they looked good.
I'll make a motion that we approve the January special
Thanks.
meeting.
Second, fifth, all those in favor? Julia, you in favor? Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't see the special meeting notes in the folder. What I see is, and maybe I'm just missed it. I reviewed some minutes today, but I have the regular meeting. And I know there's a bunch of minutes, so I apologize.
Yeah, it might be that we approved the January regular minutes already, and then, sorry,
I know, I'm like.
it's been one of those days for me. So, did we maybe approve the January regular minutes last time we met? Or I'm sorry, when we met for the special meeting in January?
Let me check the minutes.
I was gonna look at the agenda.
Doesn't say it on the agenda, so maybe we didn't. Okay, so you're not seeing all of the minutes you need to see.
They're there.
I'm
They
seeing
are-
the February 2nd meeting minutes, and I'm seeing the January regular meeting, but I'm not seeing the January special meeting minutes. Are they in the February folder or are they in a different folder?
I thought that I put them in the February folder. You took them, right?
It wasn't on the February 2nd meeting to approve any minutes, so.
Okay, well, how about this? Since you don't see them right now, we won't approve the special for January 2nd, but we will approve the February 2nd special meeting, and then I will make sure that
They're,
everyone has.
and they're in the January folder, but they weren't in the link. here.
Oh, okay.
They're-
I was gonna say, I
they're-
thought I saw those.
I put them in the
somewhere, but-
January folder. Sorry about that. Okay. So how about the February 2nd special meeting minutes?
I would move that we approve the February special meeting, or second special meeting minutes.
Making what we're adding this January special, just put those in next one.
Thank you. And then a second from Tiff, or a second after Tiff.
I'll second.
Thanks, Marie. All those in favor? Okay, cool. That motion passes. Hold back that last motion. Okay, sorry about that. I'll make sure that you all have access to the January special minutes. Okay, let's get me out of the hot seat.
Oh, are you putting
I'm
us
in
in
it.
it?
No, you don't have to be in it, but I've been
Whatever temperature you
specifically
like.
like, or just like disorganized for the last 10 minutes. And I'm moving on. Okay,
Okay.
take it away, gals.
Kindergarten and first grade, we're having a great lesson with Lisa Stevenson today. They were drawing a picture about a time they made a mistake, but they learned something from it. So there were some fun conversations going on around that. They also finished up writing their opinion pieces in their writing unit, and they're starting narrative pieces. So their opinion writing, most of their writing has been around the planets that they have been studying. And so opinion writing was I like, and they got to pick their favorite and say why, explain why. So narrative today, they pulled out their cover and they picked a planet. If they went to space, which one would they want to visit? So then they will be writing a story about them visiting a planet. So that's their narrative unit that's coming up. So middle school students will be going on 2 off-campus learning experiences. 8th graders will be attending Career Day at Columbia Gorge Community College to learn about options for their futures. Additionally, our whole campus will be attending the production of Mousetrap performed by the Hood River Valley High School. Mousetrap.
Mousetrap.
Mousetrap, okay. And then they're gonna tour, and then they will tour the Columbia Center for Arts exhibit Black Infinity House, I was gonna say it, for Black History Month. We're excited for our students to experience some of the arts and culture that the gorge has to offer. Middle school English language arts are exploring the genre of fantasy by reading The Ranger's Apprentice, Ruins of Orlin by John Flanagan. Students are exploring the setting of novels and the hero's journey. We're currently writing narrative essays about personal role models or mentors, which connects with the 3-step hero journey, meeting the mentor. As always, we're developing grammatical skills and hoping to foster students writing without interruptions of AI, but this can sometimes be a struggle as it is so prevalent within daily lives. Learning about the past and not letting AI interrupt it. That's very interesting.
Middle school social sciences. We are working on a unit about globalization and the interconnectedness of the continents through the European age of exploration and colonization. Ooh, that's a lot. Our core question is, how does the exchange of information, trade, and ideas, government affect different cultures around the world? This aligns with our Oregon State Social Science Standard, which requires students to use primary and secondary sources to identify and analyze the interactions and exchanges of cultures and civilizations after 600 CE. Thank you for your support. That's from the middle school. In 2-3, we continue to study poetry and are looking forward to our poetry cafe next Thursday. The students have been writing opinion pieces and extending their thoughts in paragraph form. In science, we continue to learn about weather and how it is different in different parts of our world. We will welcome Mark Nelson, who is the chief meteorologist for Fox 12 News, here at our school this Friday. And he's going to talk to the kids about being a meteorologist and do a little cool weather experiment. In 2nd grade math, we have started learning about money and counting coins. In 3rd grade, we have shifted on to fractions. The students were happy to be back in school today. It's hard to believe there are only 4 more days till the 100th day of school. And as always, we really appreciate your support. That's our report. It's kind of our fault because we forgot that it was Tuesday and had to get short.
Thank you. Any questions or follow-up? Hey, Brent, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
And we would welcome anybody from the board at 9:30 on next Thursday for the Poetry Cafe. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I think a lot of you are parents.
Yeah.
I got to be a step-in parent last year. That was fun.
Okay, cool. Great. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's go to the business manager and treasurer's report. Oh, I'm sorry, Julia, go ahead.
I come through. I was just gonna make a note about the or just flag for future discussion the comment about AI. I've seen this just like in the last week coming up around education a ton. And we just talked about taking our notes that way. There's like in the OSBA newsletter, there was, the Bend School District has been struggling with kind of how much to use AI. I've seen some of the local schools here, the teachers are able actually to grade papers with AI, and the sort of efficacy of doing that or not doing that. And I just think that as a school, we probably want to get out in front of that as much as possible. And I don't know, I haven't been on the policy review committee, so I don't know if we have an AI policy, but it's just an area I'm interested in. I'm interested in how teachers can now use AI to generate all of their worksheets. Like, how do we feel about that? To grade papers, to provide feedback to students. Students similarly can use it to generate their work. And so I see other schools grappling with this. I just haven't heard it percolate up much in our school yet, but I'd be curious to for teachers' thoughts on that at a future time.
I can speak to it just in recent, we have a unit coming up and we needed to figure out which standards align to that unit. And it was a helpful tool instead of sitting and shifting through all the standards and trying to pick out which ones, plug it into AI and it shifted out. These are the standards that it'll hit. And then it also said we can create a lesson plan for you. So we take that with a grain of salt, but it has its usefulness in terms of what it can provide for teachers to help with the workload. I don't know about grading.
I know, I was gonna say, I don't know how I feel about grading, because I know the kid as
Yeah.
the teacher, and you know their work and what they do and whether it matches up with the standards or not.
There's more nuance.
There's so much more, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably just an area where teachers are going to need increasing guidance on kind of where, because everybody's sense of like, this seems like a really reasonable use of it may be different, or at least, and that goes beyond like into the community as well. So
Yeah, probably something good for us to be thinking about from the policy perspective as well, both for staff and then students. Maybe we add that to the policy committees. We can do some research and see what other policies are out there and get some info. Good call. Okay, anything else before we go to the business manager report? Thank you, gals. Okay, Shannon.
All right, business manager minutes. Recently completed financial projects. The audit for 24-25 has been completed and submitted with payment to the state, so yay. 1099s have been filed and year-end preschool letters have been sent. Q2 IG grant reporting is completed. Our open financial projects, the audit 24-25 plan of action needs to be reviewed, approved, and signed by the board, and it must be submitted to the state by March 14th, 2026. Our 990 2024 questionnaire is in process and financials are being finalized for the 990 creation. Anticipation is completed this week. The 26-27 budget is in draft and is being reviewed. Department of Energy grant status. All contractors are in the LCP time tracking program and reports are being reviewed weekly. List of funds spent so far in the financials packet. One invoice is currently open in our AP system. Contractors for windows and insulation has been approved. Scheduling services during spring break 2026. Payroll for February is reviewed by Michelle and Veronica before being submitted by Shannon and me. Currently, payroll projects include reviewing contract summaries for 26-27. So you will be approving those next month, I believe. Creating intent to return letters for staff in preparation for the March meeting. Those have been actually completed. And I just recently reconciled our paid leave balances and is being reviewed by Michelle and Veronica. Our fiscal year 26 budget highlights, overall budget status. The fiscal year 25 budget is progressing steadily with 58% of the fiscal year completed. While overall performance is slightly behind projections, several factors are expected to improve as the year continues. Our investment earnings are currently below estimates. However, this will continue to be monitored and adjusted for future projections. DOE funding, receipt of the DOE funds, Department of Energy funds, was delayed due to the timing of the extension approval. These funds are expected to be realized before the end of the fiscal year, which should positively impact overall budget performance. Some expenses that are over budget, the contract services and supplies are trending ahead of budget, reflecting higher activity levels in these areas. The expenses that are under budget, capital outlay remains under budget. Transfers are also under budget, helping offset higher costs in other areas. And our student counts are strong and significantly more than last year. This will result in positive ADM corrections in the future. Any questions?
I had one question and it was back at the top. You said that there is something that needed to be signed by the board and submitted by March 14th. What was that?
That is
It's
go ahead.
It's the plan of action for the audit. So we had 3, but I think she added one more to them. We eventually, we had, Emily and Amelia and I on to sign it, but because Amelia's not here, then I put Julia on it, but Julia's not here right now, so, we'll have to figure that, we need to get that signed and sent off, so. I don't know, Julia, can you stop in sometime this week?
It's in the financial.
Yeah, absolutely. I can stop in
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay, so if,
Hear what she said.
Emily, if she'll be, so if you and I can sign tonight, and if Julia signs it tomorrow, then we can get it into the mail. And it just is really like, what some of our findings and how we're going to correct those. And it's just a statement of that on there, so,
Okay.
and that is it's in the audit folder, and I think it's also in the financial, so.
Yeah.
We put it several
Okay.
places.
Thank you for circling back. Okay. Any questions on anything that Shannon just shared? Did we want to go over the audit report? That's also under this item.
Oh, is it, they're the signs,
Uh-huh.
yeah. We probably should. Let's see if I have it here. So, we are finally finished with the audit. Oh my goodness, we did it. It was, the thing that helped push it through is we, had Tracy, who's the compliance director. She came on board and helped push it through. They also knew it was a priority because we didn't have an extension, and so they went with it. The only, Shannon, I'm trying to find our notes that we have. So, there's not anything big to see in it. I mean, we're in a great financial position. And, I would say, like, going forward next year, looking at our assets, like our capital assets, because the value that they have of this building is super low. When ODE came through and valued it, they valued this building to replace this building would be about $14 to $15 million. And so it's not worth $1 million. We just put $1 million into it. So, so I think that we need to kind of have somebody maybe come and do an assessment, of like, I mean, the land itself is worth a lot of money. And I think that that's not really represented on the audit as well as it could be. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm just curious to know if, you know how in real estate, there's assessed value in the real market. Do you think that the ODE is that's still significantly less than 14 million?
Yeah, I don't know. So they had the guy came in, he spent all day long here, like going through everything. I have the facility thing about that, but I don't know where he comes up with, where he gets that from. So I don't know. And because we don't pay property taxes, we don't get the property.
Right, the assessors,
Yeah. So the audit findings is, the ones that were significant were, during our testing of journal entries, we were advised that no documents were available for review. We recommend that backup documentation be kept and shown to someone other than the person who makes the entries review them for reasonableness and accuracy to enhance internal controls. We've already taken care of that because having Shannon on board gives that second person to look at it instead of just Veronica. During their testing of cash, we noted that bank reconciliations tested were not prepared or reviewed timely, or nor proof of being reviewed by someone other than the preparer. We recommend all reconciliations be prepared and reviewed within 60 days of the month and of the bank account to safeguard against unintentional or intentional errors. So I want to say, I would say the second part of that is no proof of it being reviewed by someone other than the preparer, because she reconciles every single month. So was not the case. And so now Shannon she is reviewing the reconciliation. So of that. And when I open up the bank statements, I actually go through it, kind of give it a check too. So you virtually have Veronica doing the reconciliation, and then Shannon and I also reviewing that. During the testing of payroll, we noted that there was an employee that was overpaid for several months. We recommend the process be put into place to ensure that the employee be paid the agreed amount upon contract and payroll monthly amount. Yeah, we have that in place, and that's why we have the contract summary. All three of us go over it, and then having and I just told the MTA tonight, or when we met, that we will have a letter out for them after we know they're returning, so by March 31st, they're going to tell us whether they're returning. We will then by mid-April send a letter that says you're being offered a contract, you're in step, whatever step they're on, how many educational credits they have, this will be your salary. Because we already know what the salaries are because we already had the that 3% raise for next year, so that's already there. And the little variable we have is steps, because if they're going to plan on taking any sort of continuing education credit, they might move over. And so we're going to have a process for that as well. So they essentially will sign, you'll have the employee also looking at where they're at in their steps. So they'll have that, we'll check that with a contract summary and it should align. And you'll have 3 people checking that part of it. So I think we're well taken care of that, so.
So is that overpayment referring to the previous employer?
Yes, yeah. QuickBooks account, so then the next ones are not as critical, they're just, hey, here's some things you can check on. QuickBooks accounting software is used, I'm just gonna tell you, like, they don't really like QuickBooks. It's just, but we're also so small that we're not gonna use Tyler Tech. QuickBooks may allow users to delete transactions without any audit trail remaining. We recommend that you evaluate the risk of using this program and consider reviewing the audit tracker over a periodic basis for unusual transactions and to ensure that it has not been shut off. This review is documented. So the audit tracker is on, always has been. And now that, so part of the thing is like Amelia has access to QuickBooks, and that's something that she could just maybe once a month, just make sure that she's checking to make sure that that is on. And maybe we have some sort of form that says, some spreadsheet that says, Amelia, look at checkbooks, the audit tracker's on, so that we can tell them next time we check this monthly. We don't turn it off. So in reviewing the Fidelity insurance coverage, we noticed that the school carries cash and investment balances above the insurance coverage amount. We noticed that the school has increased coverage for employee crime in the fiscal year. However, we recommend that the board periodically examine this exposure risk and make determination as to the amount of coverage they feel is prudent in regard to the oversight. So what they feel like we're okay, but what we could do is have PACE just look over our audit and make sure that we're fully insured for whatever they recommend. And they're willing to come to a board meeting and talk to you. During our overview of IT control policy, we noticed that the district super user includes the business manager, who's also involved in various aspects of using district software. We recommend that the district consider someone other than the people with full administrative access have authority to grant and change access to the accounting software. What we have decided is we're going to ask Dan Peterson from North Wasco if he'll be the oversight to that, because they said it's actually nice if it's somebody that's outside of your little circle, and that would be, especially when we're small. During our testing of expenditure, we noticed no evidence of approval on 36 disbursement, and no support was provided for 1 expenditure. Just that we were missing 1 receipt out of all 36 that they had looked at, which I think is pretty good. Yeah. We recommend that all distributions obtain approval before disbursement is made. A proper expense documentation should be put in place. We actually do have a system. It's we have the requisition page, and I go in and I approve those. But we are going to, we talked about this at the meeting, and Shannon, jump in here, is to help me out a little bit is have when Dawn, because Dawn does most of the ordering, or Daphne, and so when they're ordering, before they're able to actually push the button to order, Shannon's going to review it to make sure that we have money in the accounts to, that we're not overspending. And so she's going to review what is, and if there's a something that kind of piques her attention, like why are we buying 12 lounge chairs? I don't know. She's going to question that and then come to me for that approval. But the things that she knows that we need of that. Is that right? Is that what we approved, Shannon?
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I thought that's what we talked about. And then management override of control, segregation of duties. The business manager has access to QuickBooks and therefore full control of all accounting cycles for both payroll and accounts payable. Compensating control, business manager is not an authorized check signer, which is not correct. All bank reconciliation and payroll summary reports are reviewed by another person. We recommend that the board continue their monthly monitoring of financial activities to continue mitigating this risk and consider obtaining additional fidelity, employee honesty, insurance coverage to compensate for this risk. They didn't really understand that. So Veronica does have signing, but she has no checks. So she really is a good overseer because she can look at the account, but she actually doesn't have checks to write to take money out of the account. But we also now have Shannon on, so that's just that double person looking at that. And again, they're really not big fans of QuickBooks, so we heard that over and over again. Anything else, Shannon, that I was missing?
Nope, I think that was it.
Yeah, so we had that's not bad to have that many, like they're very easy to correct the findings, and some of them, it is harder because we do have, Veronica is, often there, but it's also kind of easier because everything's online for us now, so we can all be checking it. I think just making sure that Adelia is, the treasurer is checking on those things, because I don't know that that's been happening, so it's just, but Veronica can now go in and see when people have signed on, so she can see when it's been checked. And so we might just kind of create a spreadsheet. This was checked, what date it was checked, and who checked it. So, and that's
and a lot of these findings we had already started to fix, already, so that it already come to our attention. So really, they weren't a surprise to us.
Yeah. And so we're finished with that audit. I did get an email wanting us to let us know how we felt about the audit and how it went. So it's going to take a day or two before I answer that. We do need to look at, are we going to continue with them? We also have a bid from somebody else. What is it called? Sasani or something? What is the name of the bid people?
I'm going to tell you right now. It is.
Brenda. That's all I know.
It is Sensiba.
And that is who North Wasco uses, and Dan Peterson's been very helpful. And I can forward you her email. She gave us, I think they're a little bit more expensive, but we asked her how long an audit should take, and she said for a charter school our size, 5 weeks.
5 weeks, yep.
So that was kind of opening. So if they could even just double that to 10 weeks, we'd be ahead. So I think that, and we'll have a conversation with that. There is going to be, because once you move everything over to somebody else, you are kind of starting at ground zero again. But we feel like with Shannon and Veronica that we could probably make that change. So.
Great. Board members, any questions, thoughts? Concerns?
Happy to be done with the audit.
Celebration.
Well, I was looking, like, we were still doing the 23-24 audit in August last year, so we had two audits going on at the same time.
Was there any communication from the audit company on being more timely to use them next year?
Well, they did ask me to do a review of them, so like I said, I'm going to give myself a day or two. I'll probably call Tracy and talk to her so she can understand our concerns. I think she knows our concerns, just because Emily was on some of my emails, and once she received that email, contacted us right away and said, do you have time for a phone call? And she did that. She kind of felt like, the person that they had doing the audit was a little overwhelmed. And I agreed with that. And we're also tiny. So what happens is we kind of get pushed off to the side a lot, because it feels like with what we did, like you literally, and it used to be that I think auditors came to your school, kind of went through all this with you and we're done with it. But being online right now, they have a tendency to kind of jump around to different audits that they're doing. And so it doesn't feel like there's real checks and balances of like the time that they're going through. So we have submitted to the state of Oregon. I submitted the audit to Dr. Bernal. I also submitted it to, it was the missing piece for our charter. So in our charter for ODE, we have to submit our charter agreement, our annual report, and the audit. And so this was the missing piece because we already considered the other things. So I think everybody who needed the audit has the audit, and we're moving on, so. And it showed, we're still in good financial state, so.
I think at the last meeting, we discussed that the fact that the audit was supposed to be completed by the end of January.
No, by the end of December.
Oh, yeah, the contract, sorry. end of December.
6
6 months, and it went over. So I'm just wondering if there's been any discussion of any kind of acknowledgement of financial refund.
I don't know, I mean, we've
For
gotten
the hardship.
the bill, it's like, and that's, I think that's also in the, if you go in the audit folder, I put the invoice in there so you can see it. What it doesn't show, and I don't know if this is gonna be separate, is because we had them do the financials, because that's what we were told, the 23-24 audit, because we had Summer help us out with those, and she was super busy. So we were told, like, if you have us do the financials, it would be faster. I guess it was faster than the other one, but it still was really slow. So,
Yeah, it's almost $18,000.
and that, it's almost 19,000 now. I think it's 18,700. So, and if you look at the quote from the new place, it's going to be around 20 grand. So, and then if you do the 990s, that is another like $4,000. And so, and that's something we have to do. And Veronica, and that's one more thing we're still working on. That is not due until May. And so, we're working on that, and it should be done well before then. So, I have
And the
no idea
bill-
what a 990 is. So,
The bill that we received is just for the audit, not for the 990s.
it's just for the audit. So,
Might be worth a conversation.
yeah. I can try that, once Tracy got on, it was really nice because she did kind of make things move a little faster. And she also, like, when we met with her, she knew what she was talking about and what she was doing. And it wasn't that way prior to that, so.
But that was,
But it took a
A month
while
and
to
a half
get somebody
after,
out. Yeah, it was kind of disappointing because we did put some other people on the emails and never really heard from them, so.
okay.
And we did also talk about the person that is no longer working there, and we kept emailing and emailing, like, it would be nice just to put hey, this person, like, on their email, like, this person's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. And then, not wanting to move too fast, but are we done with that?
Yeah, I do feel like before we pay it, we need to, like,
Okay.
I feel like we should be compensated. They broke the contract. I don't know what
Yeah,
that
I can ask
compensation looks
that.
like, but I just feel like
I have no problem asking that
there's no
question.
excuse for
Yep.
taking
Yep.
so much longer than what they said they would do. Yeah, that's just what I
Great, thank you.
Agreed.
Okay, and then we also have an item here to create a budget committee.
And the good news for you, I don't think it's gonna be it might be a meeting or two. Veronica's already our budget is mostly our salaries. She's already uploaded the salaries to that, document. I think the big thing that we wanna look at is, and this might, you might not be a bad person, Tiffany, because a lot of it is looking at our facilities and what outlays we wanna do with that.
And then also for your school Fridays.
Yeah,
needed to add more. Or you had it like laid out nicely, I think, in the presentation last week or whenever. So this is an executive director committee.
Yeah, and so yes, so we can only have a couple of you on it, we don't need a whole bunch, so, and like I said, Veronica, Shannon would come at it, if we could have maybe 2 or 3 more board members. Most of it, it's a small document, just so you also know, like, we are not required to have this. That is the weird thing, is we're not actually required to have a budget according to the auditors, but it's a good practice to have a budget. So, very good
Let's keep
practice.
that practice.
Yeah.
We think it's good practice.
I would be on the committee and help with that, unless everybody else wants to or something.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Hands go up.
Thanks, Tiff. Okay, and then, so
I've got Tiffany, I need a couple, at least
One
one
more?
more,
Does anyone else?
one or 2 more.
We can nominate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan does it.
As a treasurer.
Dan said he'd do it, so.
Hands on. Okay.
Maybe we ask.
It really should
Yeah,
be.
and let's check with Amelia when she gets
Okay,
back.
yeah, well, she would be good to have
Yeah,
on too,
because she's the
obviously.
treasurer.
Yeah. All right. Amelia, see what happens when you miss a meeting, Amelia?
You're on the committee.
Just a nomination.
Just a nomination.
You're wanted.
Yeah,
It's a nice-
you're definitely.
Should come from you.
Yep. We need to make a motion for you all to be on that committee.
I don't think
It's
so.
an
think that's
executive,
nice.
so I think we're.
Okay, cool. Great. Anything else from you, Shannon or Michelle? On financial stuff?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Shannon. Okay, you're good too? Annette?
I'm good, yeah.
Good,
yeah.
okay,
Go ahead.
and then Brent, thanks for
Okay.
being here. So let's do a Department of Energy project update.
Woo.
In the email.
Now you're-
I know.
Oh, so
Yeah, and I
do
just
know-
sent everybody.
Oh, you
an
did?
email,
Okay,
You know,
cool.
which in my future self, I will have sent 3 days ago, when Emily, a week ago, when Emily kindly reminded me. Couple big things, I guess, would be good to discuss. So we've got kind of tandem planning processes, both for the structural building as well as the solar system itself. All of it is integrated, all of it suffers a little bit from chicken and the egg, but Eric worked with the building manufacturer that has been responsive, very much so, gave us the first estimate to redesign the building consistent kind of with the board's direction last time for a single plane south facing. He modified the structure a little bit to move the posts in and have a little bit more of an overhang, which might reduce conflicts with the soccer field a little bit. Also makes it a little bit, probably helps with a little more of the aesthetics if we ever did want to add some sort of soffit or something around the outside. So you've got basically 3 documents in front of you. The first one is the solar design. We got 2 different estimates for designing the solar system. One was $28,000 from Mayfield Resources. The other was $3,800 from Green Tech Renewables, who we work with on the residential solar side. Needless to say, the $3,800 path looked a lot better for what is essentially the same service. And Mayfield's great. We were just a little small for what they typically do. So one thing for tonight, I don't know if that quantity, I think for that dollar amount for like professional services, we don't have to do RFP or something, but if the board was okay with that, that should be about a 2-week process. We then get those details underway, and that's gonna help refine what the pricing is. We've had a few meetings with them already. We've looked at 3 big parts of the system to think about. One is how many panels. Actually, one is the structure, 2 is the panels, and 3 is the batteries. Those are the big ticket items. There's other stuff, racking and stuff. You probably don't, it's not the big ticket item, it's part of it. But so we're looking at a couple different options for batteries. None of them give us what I would say are very like super long lasting reserves. Just, I want to be clear on that. This is not the type of thing that's going to be able to run the schools for days in the event of emergency. That would be extremely high cost, and it is just, if that's your goal, it is much more budget efficient just to get a propane or a diesel generator and to have it in case of emergency. Makes total sense to do, not part of this grant, but we do want to design the system so that that could be essentially plugged into it, right? So, and this is, I will not say that is simple. It is more simple now on residential stuff, less simple on big like commercial scale stuff. But still, even short of that, having a 100 amp or like a 100 hour kilowatt hour battery is like the size of my F-150 truck. Not that much, you're not powering the school that long, but you might keep the lights on, right? You might keep the lights on even for a couple hours. You might keep 200 amp hour you might keep the lights and the refrigerators on. It's kind of math beyond what I have at the moment, because we're kind of starting with what can we afford and then going like, what can it do? As opposed to saying, we've got this plethora of money, let's plan what we want to do and then go, oh God, we don't have the money. So that, open to other processes, but that's kind of what we're trying to shoehorn it into. So first thing, $3,800 for the solar design. The next thing, Eric helped refine the proposal. At the bottom of the second attachment is from Pacific Building Services. It's a quote for $118,000. The first structure was just kind of a generic structure that didn't include the right slope and whatever. This is more dialed in for us. It went up a little from the 85,000, but this is probably a better structure. Eric is open to taking this and putting this into visual plans. So what I think item one is, can we approve the $3,800 for design, or 38 and change? Item two, I think, is sending out an RFP for a building design as this, and noting that there may be some tweaks, right? Somebody maybe get out there and ground truth it and say, you know what, we can add 20 feet onto the bottom, or we should take 50 feet off of the sides. But I think given the time lag, I'm willing to work with Michelle and company and drafting an RFP. Let's put it out there. I think there's a value. These guys have been very good. I think there's a value in doing it as a value bid, or however we do it. So if a couple of them are close to price, we can go off their reputations. We can go off how good are they at working, outside the Portland metro area and things like that. One of the things I want to know is, like, if we can get Crestline to do the excavation for free, they be open to that? Some things like that, I think, lend itself to that. And then the third thing is, I'd like to submit, just given our time crunch, if we can agree on kind of like what would be a slightly modified structure size. If you look at the building design quote there, that 50 by 73, that's actually the post, and it's a little bit bigger than that. The sides each go out 4 feet, so it would be 58 feet wide roof, and the overhang on the north and south is I think it's 8 foot on the north side and 4 feet on the south, but that's kind of the general. The idea is we would have those final sizes in the RFP. We would have those final sizes. Again, the board feels okay with a little bit of change for reality and how it grades out, et cetera, then we could go forward and get the city and mainly the city process. That's the planning process. I'm not totally sure what they're going to do from the zoning stuff that I've looked at. It looks like we hit setbacks. It looks like we're within the height limitations and things like that. So I don't think they should have a problem with it, but we kind of want to get that going. So fourth thing is just, I think, a nod to proceed with Department of Energy, saying, hey, here's the basic design. Here's what we think will be the round cost. We need to look at a couple different things, and that's basically rechanging some of the money from the roof and the structure on that to this kind of ground mount, structure. And then the final kind of corollary to that is given the okay to go forward, we need to get permission from the Oregon State Historical Preservation Office. And that would be basically taking this updated picture that Eric is going to do and getting it to them. Eric's been very kind. He's put in a lot of time and money. I mean, a lot of time thanks to his group. I do think we need some, it would be helpful to have some architectural help that goes beyond that. He's talking to his office like, hey, what do you want to build? Is there a way to do this I do think there's some, we had some professional services for like engineering, I think, in the grant that we didn't use. I haven't walked even through, I kind of just start talking with him about this. Okay, we need to go and we need to like kind of step on the gas, and we're kind of I think we're at the end of most of what he can do. So I don't have a clear number. That's more, I think that last thing is more just kind of like flagging it to get this thing across the finish line. We're probably gonna need some more drawings and in a way that's nice for both the city permitting as well as the historic preservation office. Eric's, well suited to do it. I don't know what the cost is, so I can't say whether it makes sense or not, but we've gotten a good amount of free work already, so.
So first thing is approving the design.
Yep.
And that 117 grand was for just the structure itself, not the groundwork, you're saying, and not the surfacing.
And not the installation. So you don't need to improve any money for that tonight. The first thing is the solar design. That's 3,800 and change. Maybe someone has that right in front of them.
Yeah.
So that I think would be the first thing to approve.
38, 22, 22.
Yeah. And then all that has to happen on the structure, I think, is if we like the general outline of it, the general height, the general structure, then we put out an RFP for that, subject to, tweaks that ultimately get decided on by the board.
And that RFP is for the full assembly and building of it, or for the?
I think, wanna have them, I would say we want a single package,
Yeah.
and if I need to kind of see if that's within the cards. Like, they clearly work with some of the companies that do the assembly and the packages, and they were able to get me a updated quote pretty quick, but this is a little different design. I think it's gonna be on par or in the realm of what the actual cost of the structure is, which is common building. Is, think about it, 50/50 is a good default.
Okay.
Do you have any good guesses on how much the install might cost? If that's,
My guess is,
I know it's a total guess,
if you're at
not
100, if you're at about 120 for the structure, you'd probably be never built, have very
Yeah, no,
limited
a total
experience on
guess,
these
I know.
structures. But the last quote they gave that I forwarded on, I think was it was pretty much like with, I think the structure was like 85 and the install was like 100 or something. So it may be, a little bit north of 120, but I'd be guessing.
Yeah.
That's just for the structure, but then we'd have to like get concrete.
50/50.
I would assume that, we will know more when we get the thing, but I think having, we kind of want them to, I think we want them, that whoever's the manufacturer and whoever's the installer to have worked together before, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's I liked how closely the Pacific Metal buildings, how quickly they were able to contact me with an installer and get me a quote within like 24 hours. So we got to have that in a few days, and also know at least do we have one installer, one building provider that would kind of submit a tandem quote.
Well, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing, based on the current size, it's about 3,600 square feet that we'd be gaining using this, with the whole thing. And if I'm looking at this cost, that's just about like $32 per square foot. And so, which is really on the lower end of what the internet tells me.
Materials.
So I think it seems like a very good starting quote based on how big it is, if that helps.
And it's with the roof, it's actually bigger than that. So we get more kind of roof space with, a little lower footprint on the ground.
Uh-oh.
Did it drop?
Okay, no, we're still good. But we've lost Julia. Uh-oh, she's not, I text her, I'm not quite sure what happened to her.
So possibly we're looking at around, let's say 250,000 for the building and its installation or structure, not building, possibly. I mean, I'm just trying
Yeah.
to, so that we
I
understand.
think it's a
what we're-
fair
Where we're
working
going.
target.
Before the solar, I mean, that's just on our structure.
Yeah.
250.
We got
Yeah.
500 in overall bills, and again, the solar design is gonna get us closer to where we want to go. And I did just have my guy try to work up a very, like, where we think I'm just seeing if I can quickly grab it. Yeah. I don't wanna, it's, I think it's worth waiting on the solar as the second part, because I'm kinda guessing at this point.
So I have a question about the solar. So this quote would just be that you provided us for the 3,800, that would just be to kind of design and show us what we could get?
Yep.
Energy wise up there.
That's
panel-wise.
what would, what will fit on the roof. We kinda, if no one can tell you solar until you know the space you're working at, so we kinda got this space a couple days ago. We got the quote, now we can figure out that, how much of that roof we can use. From there, I'll be able to say, here's how much power we can generate. It's not gonna like run the whole school. It's just not a big enough area. Even with the roof here was 10,000 square feet. That wasn't gonna run the whole roof. This is, it's a meaningful step forward. It's a, nice hedge, but as we continue to try to refine in the ongoing electricity costs, getting insulation in, the new windows, et cetera, it's kind of part of the picture.
And do we have a sense of how, I guess one of the variables that we don't know yet is how much the solar panels and all of that would actually cost. So that's another uncertainty that we have right now. And then the other question I had regarding the solar is, that was the statement, I guess. The question I have regarding solar is we were asking DOE if we can move it from the roof to a ground racking system. And did they already respond to that piece? Or is that still a to-do?
We've talked to them about it. We've told them what we want to do. I'd say they seemed positive.
Receptive.
Yeah, receptive, and so I think, but we haven't had the details, and so that's, I think, part of the, that'll be the next steps. But like, we kind of need to get like all these different streams going at the same time, and then stitch them together in the end to make our timelines.
Yeah.
So.
What did we have allotted in the DOE grant for solar? Do you remember?
500,000 was for just solar and batteries, right? So no structure. So I'd say if I had to take a really big deal, if we're maxing out, if we're trying to like get as much solar as we can, we're not only getting, free federal money for it, then on top of that, whatever we put in ourselves, we can get 30%, we get that cash back. So that's, if we only put, I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but as we originally orchestrated it, we were going to put all of our cost share in on the solar to get it all back. That's, went out the window with the realities of how the administration's operating it. That said, we can still get some significant funding back, 30%. I think, at the end of the day, right, I think the question is, right, everyone's probably like, hey, great, yeah, 500K, awesome, that's free. How much more than that is it to get the structure out there? And I don't have a great sense yet, but my general sense is if we're maxing out the solar, I think we can do better than the 500K. I think we can have some savings there. Again, I can get the panels. We've confirmed they're BABA compliant. We found inverters, which are another big component that are also BABA compliant. The battery, actually, I'm gonna check that. We know that we have to get a BABA waiver for the batteries, and potentially the inverter, but I think we found some BABA compliant inverter. So BABA compliant solar panels, yes, US made, US materials, and then waivers for the other ones, which is also something that we have to start within the next very short time. So, but big picture, I think it's fair to think a couple $100,000 additional bucks, to try to get the structure. Let's say the structure comes out at 250 or 3. Some part of that I think is going to have to be add-on money. I think some part of it DOE is likely to say we're not going to cover the whole thing. This isn't just a simple solar rack. It's got more function, and so that's I can't tell you exactly what it is, but we're on that train.
And we were required to have a cost share initially anyway, right? In the beginning.
Yeah.
And what's that number?
Well, the cost share, I can't tell you right offhand, but the cost share was distorted by the fact that when we were planning the grant, our grant contractors were like, you can pay the cost share at the end, in order to maximize your solar. And so we planned for this bigger cost share at the end, and it let us increase the project size.
Okay.
Then bait and switch. Now they say you have to pay cost share every step of the way instead of paying it all at the end. We were going to pay it all at the end just for solar. There we get our 30% back. Great plan until it wasn't. So I don't know, but like when we get to the point of actually having the numbers, that'll be a good question. Like, what have we already got in? What more do we want to put in? How does that affect our potential, 30% tax? They call it a tax credit, but for nonprofits until July, as long as we have construction started by July, I'm digging into what that actually means, but as long as construction is started, so I'm hoping that means, if I got to get out there with an excavator and scrape out some trenches, then we can do that, because that's our timeline that we're fighting against.
Okay. Are any board members who are concerned about this or want to talk more about the project? Are we feeling comfortable and ready to move forward and approve these things? Where are we at?
My only concern was just the size based on the PBS quote. That doesn't sound right, but the size of that one isn't even the junior court that I thought we had agreed we wanted to build it around. It's just short, but on the length, so. And that's where the posts are, so it would be encroaching on the court, but.
Eric has the high school basketball at 51. The outsides of this one are 50.
And we were thinking the junior one,
What was the junior?
That 42. One is 42 by
74.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think our challenge on the width, or on the length, junior is the one, junior high school, yeah, 42. So it's fine on the width. It's not quite as long on the length. Yeah, it's,
But wouldn't that be okay if it's 50 wide, like the posts are more than enough out, and the roof's overhanging, right? Like that's just the posts are 73, correct?
yeah, but I think you wouldn't want the post within
Right, the court, yeah.
the court.
As you know, the court.
I'm certainly happy. I think that's the kind of tweak if we went back and said, okay, we're good on the length, but let's increase the width another few feet. We just went out, my guys took elevations. When that hill starts to go up, it complicates the whole enough clearance and everything. And you start to get into, big retaining walls and a bunch of other costs that go along with it. The one thing I'd say, there are additional costs that we haven't even talked about yet. I just want to flag them because we don't know what they are. It's unfortunately, this is the type of thing, it takes a long time. We're not, we didn't even know if we had a grant extension until 5 minutes ago. So stormwater is one of them. I feel pretty good that we can do stormwater trenches on the side of the thing. It's a good sized roof. There's going to be a decent amount of water. We're going to have to handle stormwater. I think infiltration trenches, with some wetland plants along the east side is pretty doable. We got to have a certified smart person run the numbers to make sure they're the right size. Not super complicated. Community planting. I've done them, I think that's the thing we can do on kind of a low budget thing, but it's another cost. There's thing we're still waiting for. We can't get it till we get the design. It'll be one of the major solar costs is just the electrical installation. What's the cost to get an electrical trench? When we did the service update, we already put in shutoffs. We put in some of the infrastructure to kind of like make it easy. My guys have been down in the basement looking at, where can we put batteries? We did all that stuff. A little bit to go to dial it all in, but I mean, we're really, I'm hoping that the solar can get in under 400,000. I'd love it to be between 3 and 4. I can't tell you the exact number. It came in, and we have 2 quotes at 500,000. So, I think we can do better without, a big profit margin in there, but.
And those 2 quotes were from ages ago when the grant was applied for?
Scott Sorensen's was last year, and that was for the rooftop solar, which is gonna be cheaper than where we're doing it. And then Elemental Solar out of Portland 2 years back when we did the grant.
Julia's back with us. Julia, just wanted to check in to see if you have any questions or thoughts. I think, and Brent, correct me if I'm missing something, but I think that the ask of the board tonight is to approve spending $3,800 for design of the solar system. And then also approve developing an RFP for design and construction of the structure, just design.
No, I would just say putting out an RFP for the design and construction.
Okay.
So anything that comes back, obviously,
We'll look at.
still.
And it's just generally approving the size of it as it is now, so that we can get, things going with the city on approval.
So
And
there's
I
3
might,
things. I thought there was
I
a
might-
4th thing.
If it,
There would be things here.
city approval, and then just the 4th thing is, I don't even think this is necessarily a board approval, just implementing, going forward with like the Oregon State Preservation Office. If we have a general design to submit to them, hey, here's our core design. That's one of the things I think we need an architect to do some renderings and some other stuff.
So are we saying though that we want it to not to be 74 feet long? I mean, the post
That
would
was
still
just
be
my
4 foot
recall,
clearance and only 6.
that was our goal, and
Yeah.
so, but if that's the only.
I can't imagine that 73 is a magic number. So
Okay, cool.
That's our goal.
One more
Pretty
foot,
good number.
just one more foot.
So,
But it could work that way, you guys, like, if you, I don't know if it's only 42 feet wide and it's 50 feet, you got 4 feet on either side, and we're only having to make 6 inches, I mean, it's still well without, it's not in the court by any means, those posts. They're well,
yeah, I see.
you know what I mean,
It's
like,
within the roof line. I
yes,
got you.
they're well
But you said it
beyond,
was based on the posts.
they're well
on the
beyond,
design.
Well,
like, I just sketched it out for
the width of the
myself.
post,
so
if
you know.
the field's 42 and your
Mhm.
posts are at,
Mhm.
your posts are inside of 42, so we don't have, but I
Cause they're
think
50, the posts
I thought
are
you said
50,
50.
yeah.
It's
outside,
73.
outside of the posts are 50.
Okay,
So
so the
Oh.
inside of
inside
the
is.
posts are.
Oh, we don't know, okay,
But what,
okay, thank you. Thank you.
I think one thing might be, just given the speed of this, if anyone wanted to, if the board wanted to kind of delegate a final design detail to a couple person working group and Michelle or something, then that might be a way to, prior to the next board meeting, get us to, give us some flexibility to make those kind of tweaks to it.
Totally, yeah.
I'm just preparing a few motions here and then I'll.
It is PBS. That is like the weirdest.
So there's one motion that would be a motion to approve the solar design quote for 382222. And just let me know if these motions sound appropriate and I can make adjustments to them. There's another motion to approve the general size of the building with the hope that we have a junior basketball size court inside of it. And another motion would be to authorize Brent to work with Michelle to send out an RFP for the pavilion project. Those are three separate motions there. Does that sound like what we're talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, I'm gonna start and make a motion. We approve the solar design quote for $3,822.22.
Okay, so motion from Dan, seconded by Tiffany. All those in favor? Julia, if you want to weigh in, please chime in.
Yeah, I'm gonna apologize because my computer did like an automatic update, so I missed a few minutes, Brent, but are we at a point, board, where we are confident we're moving forward? This seems like a non-trivial amount, and I just don't have enough information to know if we are definitely going to make timelines and feel like we're within a budget that we're comfortable with, because this is multiple thousands of dollars to take a step in this direction. But I will admit I missed about 10 minutes there where I was, my computer was doing an update.
So really quick, Julia, I don't know what part you missed or not, but yes, first is the 3822. That would be for the solar design. You know, all of that's kind of already been set in motion by the grant and stuff. But then the parallel part would be, let's see what an RFP comes back on for design and install of the structure of the solar pavilion. So that's not committing anything. It is saying, you know, what would it actually cost? And then once we get the solar design, then I give that to Tito or others, and we say, hey, what's an estimate on the actual solar install?
Dan?
But Julia, I think we cannot make a decision without the information on what it's gonna cost, without RFPs and bids and quotes. So we have to spend money to figure it out. We can't get it for free. So part of it is us approving that initial design for the solar itself, and then it's approving the general size of it, that it fits with what we're requesting as a board for the school. Like, this size seems good for us. And then the third part is then setting it up for an RFP and saying, okay, you know, how much is it gonna cost to build this? Concurrently working with the city to try to get approval for doing these things. So like, I think we're in enough of a time crunch. We have to move forward on multiple fronts, otherwise it won't happen.
And especially with the fundraising side of things, like I would need these things in place so I can start going for the big money.
God, I love your attitude. Go again.
I found this one where it's a pavilion where they raised 1.6 million. It's like a outdoor classroom educational. So I'm like, I have this list of all the donors on my head.
Yeah, so does that help, Dan's kind of synopsis of where we are?
Yeah, I think I have a better understanding. I mean, I understand the RFP part. The first element though is the RFP itself doesn't cost money, right? It's the solar design that's costing money. And can you explain, Brent, you said the grant already put that in motion, but isn't there a world in which we decide we're not gonna, this racking is not feasible in the timeline, we're not gonna get the NEPA and historic permits in time, so we're not gonna do it. So in what way is then the grant putting why would we pay for the solar design until we know those other pieces? Can you just explain that piece of it?
Yeah, I mean, without the solar design, we just can't start anything. Like, we don't know how much anything costs. We don't know, we don't have anything to submit for the BABA waiver. We don't have anything to submit to DOE. It's just all part of knowing what we would be building, if that makes sense. Like, we can't, it's definitely like the first thing that has to happen before we can get DOE's approval, before we can, permitting, design, budgeting, like nothing could happen to even test whether we could put in the solar without the design.
And the design will be for this pavilion like that, or are they coupled?
It's for the pavilion. They're not coupled. I mean, they're not coupled in that if the pavilion design changes, it's not a big deal to update, shrink, or enlarge the solar system. But generally, everything in the solar system, we're generally going to get sized. How many panels you have is going to size the inverters and the batteries, and kind of on down the line.
So in a worst case scenario, we spend this $3,800 and end up with a solar design that we can't implement.
Correct.
Best case scenario, we've got a design that'll help us move forward on getting estimates for all the other pieces, and it's within our budget, what we have to spend, and we can move forward.
Yeah.
Last question, and is that $3,800 something we split with the grant, or we can get reimbursement from the grant for, or is that our money?
I think it's our money right now, but I think we can, it makes sense that DOE would pay for it, but we don't have authorization yet from them to do it. Cause we had a design, it was just a different design. So I mean, it seems like the type of thing they might be open to paying for out of the grant, but we just, we don't have their sign off yet.
Okay,
We can always ask.
thanks for all the answers.
Always ask, Julia.
Yeah.
And if it helps, I mean, we are raising money right now with the readathon. We're up to 1,000. So of what of just profit, so.
So, initially, I brought the motion forward to approve the solar design quote for $3,822.22. Tiffany seconded. We had discussion. Marie's going to abstain from the vote.
Yeah.
So, all those in favor? Any opposed?
What do you think you're doing?
It's old habits.
You did a great job. Okay, so motion passes, and then Dan multitasking. So then second motion,
So I'll make a motion that we approve the general size of the building with the goal of having a junior basketball size court inside of it.
seconded from McKenna. All those in favor? Okay, motion passes. And then there was one more. Yeah, and maybe before Dan reads the last motion, I do also think, so we kind of had, I don't remember if we had a formal subcommittee working on this, but we definitely have an informal one to kind of just help keep moving things forward and support Brent, because I feel like we're kind of like putting a lot in Brent's plate on this one. Would it be helpful if we had a group who is formally helping us move forward and working with the state, working with the city, working on the RFP?
Happy to help wherever we need. When that comes up.
I think the main thing that would just be good on a time is, to the extent the board, has a little subcommittee that, like, as Eric does an updated plan with, Michelle and I can be like, yep, that's in line with the direction we're going. Opens it up to 74 feet or what, just deals with those type of things. I think I think it's getting dialed in, but I think it's worth, like, I haven't put stakes out there yet. We need to, kind of do a couple things like that. Just be nice to have, that buy-in sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I'd be on that, and Dan, and I don't know if anybody else, but, yeah. Cool. Let me know, I'll go out past six, maybe.
Yeah, I think that that's helpful. Okay, and then there was one more motion that we were gonna make.
Third motion is to authorize Brent to work with Michelle to send out an RFP for the pavilion project. Wait a second.
And then all those
Yes,
in
it's fast
favor?
tonight.
Okay, motion passes, thank you.
Marie saying, right?
And Maria abstains, yeah.
Sorry, I went
Great.
back.
That's good.
Didn't mean to be rude, but it seemed like the perfect time. Okay.
Brent, is there anything else that you need from us tonight?
Thank you.
We're gonna go over the
Thank
other
you.
installation window.
Oh, yeah. we did that. So,
Okay.
okay, so then moving forward, both Dan and Tiff will help kind of shepherd things as needed.
And just send me the
Mackenzie
formal
gets the
quotes
money.
and things so I'll just need those for the grants. I don't know, I haven't had much success with grants, but I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
I have a good.
I do too. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Brent, for all that information, and also to Eric.
One last thing, just on the installation front. One of the things, I am having, IBP, the folks that are gonna do the installation, come out and look at what it would cost. Those old vents, those things are still let in air. And there's a bunch of, they're not a bunch, but
When you look on the outside of the building, so I didn't really realize this, when you look on the outside of the building, you see like these, like grills. Every classroom, those are those, and it's like having an open window.
yeah, so I've talked to IBP about coming out to do a walkthrough to plug those. Maybe it's like, it's, I don't think it's gonna be very expensive. They're talking like rigid foam, spray foam, seal them off. Someday Dan and I are gonna come in on the weekend and haul these things out.
Yeah, guys.
You're kind of in there.
Okay.
Scrapyard fundraiser.
We'll get something.
So insulation and window installation are happening on spring break.
On spring, so yes, they're happening on spring break, and prior to that, Devco is gonna come out and, our vents that go right through the window right now, which you can't do. Anyway, so they're gonna do the vents to actually go out the building through one of those nice open vents that we already have. And so that's about $3,000, and it's, should be hopefully a little bit less than that. But we have to have that, like, that's not something, it's not a choice, we have to have that tent. And that is like, there's 2 bathroom vents and a laundry vent that is gonna go out. And they cannot, because the run of one of them is long, it's gonna actually have to have like some sort of booster vent on it. So, but Devco has been really good. Now have them come out and be with the new air handler rep. His name is Michael, super helpful, very helpful. Came out, spent a whole day. As you can hear, we're not hearing anything right now because he's got it on a timer. Mitch now knows how to put, like, Mitch has it on his phone. We were at skate night and we're like, yeah, it's a little chilly in here. Can you just turn it up a little bit? And so he turned up the heat for, like, he can do it by his phone, turning stuff up and down. And he's gonna make it so that I can put it on my phone too. So we have 2 people being able to do that. Like the vents, like, it is cold in the gym. And it's hopefully a little bit warmer. Where they had taken one of the units, the old units out, was like having a giant window just open. And so Mitch was able to kind of board it up a little bit, and we're hoping that that's gonna help a little bit with that. But it definitely is running better. The noise is better. Like I said, Michael and Matt have been very, very helpful, along with Mitch in helping that happen. So yeah, new windows this spring break. Exciting. Very exciting. It's all on this side, and they do have them from the inside, and that has to do with the lead paint. Lead paint is on the outside, it's not on the inside. And so that's easier for them to remove this way, yes.
Are the teachers gonna need help removing things?
I think we'll just it's only this front side, so we don't have to have anything back there. And so I think between Dale and Mitch, and then, like, if you look at this room might need some help, but that room and Mary Ellen's might need some help, but we'll just make sure that everything over there, and then we're going to cover it in plastic so they're ready to go. So, yeah. Could be, we could have this, not Friday, everybody move. So,
Goes faster.
Yeah.
Work light.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on DOE grant?
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Brian, for being here. Thanks for all your help. Okay, Michelle, you are up next, your report. We don't have Elijah today.
Huh?
No,
I know,
Elijah.
no, Elijah, he usually asks me several times, when is it, when is it? I told him several times, so. Anyway, it was, the strategic plan, is still on there, still working it through. Sarah Grace and I had a meeting with, Active-G, who does our website. She is we're gonna kind of go through the website again, with kind of a new updated one. It will come online after spring break. But one of the things is she saw our strategic plan, and she's gonna be able to, she has this really cool way of making it, more prevalent, and that, she talked about, like, when we do something like when we had edX here, that's on our strategic plan. Sarah Grace took pictures, and so when you have your strategic plan, you actually have photos that match, like, here's evidence, here's artifacts of our strategic plan. So we're really excited about that. Enrollment, we're actually down, I should have updated this, we're down to 185. We've had a couple of students have to, 2 moved to Odell, 1 moved, sadly, and then we had one went online in the middle school. So, but we seem to be staying at the 185. The grade levels are up there. They seem pretty steady. That actually, we're getting a new second grader first week of March. So we are getting a new second grader. So they will go up. Huh?
Did we lose a pre-K?
We were at 9. We're at 8. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Sarah Grace got a nanny. So. Although Penny does make an appearance every once in a while. We gave her drop-in rate to bring her. But the person that has a second grader also has a pre-K. So they also asked. So that's going to go back up as well. Enrollment for next year. We have, just so you know, kindergarten kickoff is on Thursday, April 2nd. That's when we'll invite all of our people that have enrolled, who have applied to attend. I hope that we are able to take all of them. We have like 10, 9 that have applied. And I say that with also knowledge that, like, everywhere I talk to, I'm like, oh, I have a kindergartner coming. Oh, I have a kindergartner. Like, I'm hearing that there's a lot of kindergartners that are actually in Moser that are coming. So I'm going to send out a form that will go in the newsletter, and we'll just kind of keep sending it out we'll put it out on Parent Square, and it will be a form, I live in district, I have a kindergartner, just so that we can kind of have some sort of head count, and also provide them with, and make sure you're coming on Thursday to get all registered for that. We're still at 25. We had that real big initial, and then it's kind of not been a whole lot. So I think we need to do another, just a really good, one more shot to, like, the newspapers, around in the Dalles and Hood River, just saying that we have some spots. My hope is that, we can take as many people as that want to come. Sure. The initial people that applied, I did send an email out to them, just letting them know that we had received it. They're on our way, that we, we're hoping to know. I would rather tell them sooner than later that they're coming or not coming. And I think we'll be able to do that. We are going to send just another reminder to families in Parent Square about kindergarten and coming, and also on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Sarah Grace is in charge of our Facebook and Instagram at this point. We're still having our migrant education after school program. That's going really well. We've got some money, and so we provide stacks for them, and then Anna is helping out with that, so we're able to fund her through that, a little bit of her. My biggest worry about the 4-day school week survey is we need to hurry it up, because I don't want it to we have a big survey coming out starting March 2nd through the 27th. That's your youth through survey. We'll have it. I'm gonna probably do a couple email things just so you know, this is coming. Please fill it out. That will give us some good insight to our students and our families and their perceptions of how we're doing. So, and we'll get the results on April 10th. So we should have results for the April meeting. So you'll kind of get to see. It's a lot of information. I just want to tell you, it's overwhelming what you get. And so we'll just probably like, Jen will probably pick on one or two things that she's going to do on the middle school. I'll probably pick on one or two things that we're going to do up here. And then probably as a board, we'll pick on one or two things that we're going to work on. So questions are just about school culture, academic challenge, belonging, mental and emotional health. And then middle school will be also have an extra one on civics. So one thing I would like to say is I did meet with Dr. Bernal and Allie Ivy about the Educational Act. Everybody has to adopt an interim assessment that they're doing for K through 8. Currently in MAPS, we're just doing grades 2nd through 8. They do have the ability to do kindergartners and first graders, which seems very painful for me. But Janet Baker has already done it for kindergartners, first graders in an old school. So she's like, I already know how to do it. I have a plan. And so we're just gonna do that. But we need to be able to tell the state that this is our interim system. The choices were NWEA, iReady, which we do use some of the iReady. I just think the map data is a little bit more user-friendly than the iReady. And then the other one was like, I can't remember. It's not something we use. And so just. Was it Star? No, well, it's Star and Renaissance. So it's two things because like we would have liked to see Dibbles on here, but Dibbles only tests reading. They want somebody that tests reading and math. And so, and the little bonus with NWEA, it also tests science for us, which is also something we're going to have to monitor as well. So I guess if we could just maybe entertain a motion to accept NWEA MAP assessment we have to do it 3 times a year and we have to test K through 8. And then I can tell them that.
Does it have to be a board motion?
I think it should. Because the reason I want it is because what happens with ODE is they put out all these things, they tell you to do these things, and then when you go to like submit for anything, they're like, and we want to see where the board approved that. So I'm just being proactive because I think they might ask for this. So
Okay, so what does the motion have to say?
Just to adopt NWE MAP assessment 3 times per year. Yeah. Yep. For the 26-27 school year.
Okay, so motion to adopt the NWEA/MAP assessment 3 times per year for K through 8 for the 26-27 school year.
Reading, math, and science.
For reading, math, and science.
I make a motion that we adopt the NWEA MAP assessment 3 times a year for the 26-27 school year that will test in reading, math, and science for K through 8.
Second. Nice. McKenna, all those in favor? Motion passes. Thank you, Julia.
And then a discussion item is that we will need to start setting growth targets for our K through 2 attendance and then K-8 attendance. I know that seems redundant, but it's just what they're doing. I guess they're looking at the littles, just seeing how, and I think those are the ones that really have no choice. You know, their parents either get them to school or they don't. When you get into the middle school, they have a choice, you know, and sometimes your choice is not to come to school. And so that one seems a little bit more actionable on that one. 3rd grade reading, 8th grade math, and 5th grade science. So 4 of those, the first 4 of those are required. The last one, 5th grade science, I just chose for us because it just seems the right thing to do. We are in they put you in, they don't call it a cohort, but they call it a common grouping. And so we're in grouping 2. I have the schools that are in that grouping, and then I had met with our oh no, actually Teresa Peters, and we had talked about it. And what I'm gonna do is get, and I asked her, so who's setting these goals and when are they gonna get set? And she said, well, that's the great thing with ODE. They haven't told us anything like that. This is expected for next year, but they don't have a plan in place for doing that. So we're gonna be a little bit proactive, and I'm gonna go in, I've made a spreadsheet of the schools that we are in a grouping with. I'm gonna go ahead and put in their attendance for K2, their attendance for that, because that's all online, and their reading and their math and their science scores. I'm gonna put that in so we can look at it. I think it's like 12 schools. I'll put that in there so we kind of know where they're at. And then we'll have some sort of like, is it gonna be, we're gonna do it by percentage points? I don't know, or we're gonna have a target, so, yeah.
Isn't this tied into the strategic plan?
It is too, yeah, and so we can't really
Because there's
set,
the X percentage,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
it's like-
and yes, exactly. And so, it is kind of, and this is also kind of another weird thing that, Dr. Bernal is checking on for me, is currently, we have growth targets that are set with North Wasco as part of the SIA grant. Teresa Peters, who works for the ESD, believes that those growth targets are going to go away and be replaced by these growth targets, which is a good thing because we're not in the same group as North Wasco for their growth targets. They're in a whole different group because charter schools and the district are separate. And that was a decision that the Charter School Association lobbied for. They didn't want to be in the same grouping. So because of that, I think that I know we want to put those growth targets on our strategic plan, but I think we have to wait until we have, like, we might as well just make one set of growth targets and just use that. So hopefully by this spring sometime, I'll have more guidance on that. So, and then we'll just put those numbers into the strategic plan.
What's the kind of metric or, I mean, when we're trying to set these standards, do we want to look nationally? Do we want to look at the state level?
I'm gonna wait till the state tells us. I don't know.
Oh, we're just gonna.
Yeah, the
go
thing
based
is, like,
on
I would say, like, here's another advantage of NWEA testing, is they set like they say, if a kid is here, they have RIT scores, they should be here. So my guess is we could probably look at where we are on our testing and where the kids are at, and then maybe set them off of that. And I would say, a lot of times we do this for teachers, is we might even consider like tiering some of those, like kids that are in this group, we're gonna expect this much growth, kids are here this much. Because the kids that are in the low, like in the red and the orange, we need them to grow the most, right? The kids that are in blue and green, they're gonna grow the least because they don't have, because they're almost at the top of wherever their growth can be, so.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, sorry, go ahead, and then I'm gonna flag.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, but I just want to put it out there because I was looking at the assessment scores for other schools in the district. And Dry Hollow, their science achievement is at 40%. So I thought, as there's been discussion of science curriculum, it seems like they have a lot of growth over there. I don't know.
Well, we just got science curriculum, yeah.
They are a neighbor, so I just thought,
Yeah.
well, it might be interesting to reach out and see what, it really stood out.
And I think one of the biggest things for us is that we've had a different science teacher every year for the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, which does not explain our fifth grade scores.
No, it doesn't, but
Yeah, it does definitely explain our eighth grade.
our age.
I like going into Ashley Sarstad's room and watching what she does and how closely she ties everything into the standards. I mean, I can't imagine them not going out. Like that was really baffled me at some point. But also like I was looking at just some of our initial NWEA map assessment for the progress monitoring. We have growth in all levels of our kids except for the 7th graders. And we kind of talked about that as a group, was like, how are we going to grab those kids and move them along a little bit? So we're really targeted, like Melina, we talked about with math, is going in there and those kids that are, kind of at the lower half, instead of having, an aide or somebody else. Jen was gonna go in there. She was gonna take the top kids and keep going. Melina's the expert. She should be working with those lower kids, because I think that's the mistake a lot of schools make, is they're like, oh, they're just, we're gonna give, a support staff to help with the kids that are struggling. You should actually give the expert teachers those kids. That's who they need right now, so.
Sure.
And
Hey,
then-
can I just check really quick? So we're not gonna finish at 7. Is it okay if we borrow 15 minutes? If I have time afterwards? Because we still have we still have 7.
Yeah,
Like we go beyond 7, yeah.
And then, curriculum, we're gonna meet tomorrow. We currently have no health curriculum for K through 5. That is not a good thing. And so, Sarah Grace has, done some, research. She has put together, some information. We're gonna present it to the teachers tomorrow, and, we're just there's not a lot of health curriculum out there. Bodyworks is the only one that is actually state approved. The other ones are kind of interesting to look at. They're mostly online with some like printouts that you can get. We can always ask for an independent adoption, so we're not gonna let that stop us, that's the only thing that the state has approved. The middle school currently is using Bodyworks. It's pretty inexpensive. It's what Hood River uses, and I believe it's what North Wasco uses too. Beaverton School District is huge and they use it, so.
Does it have a skin thing?
Does it
Remember,
work?
so I can do there's like the dermatologist
Oh, and there.
grant for
Okay.
pavilions, literally.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I sent you guys an email, I'm like, I do remember that. They need to prove,
Yeah,
we need to
yes,
prove
we
that
need
we've had
Yeah.
skin
Skin
care in
yeah.
our curriculum.
Yeah.
Right in there. But it has to have been there for like a year.
So we'll
So,
we'll
let me know
review
where
that,
it's
we'll review that, tomorrow at our PLC meeting with the, certified staff. Just another informational item, on Friday, we had our in-service. Andrea she figured out how to get, getting in this building when nobody's, the secretary there is a challenge. She was literally going to throw rocks at her window. She finally emailed me like, she needs to get inside. Anyway, so when she finally made it inside, she did a great strategy lesson on vocabulary. It was very engaging. The teachers were super excited about it. I got through all the mid-year goals with everybody except for the 2-3. I'm gonna meet with them this week. And then we're going to, we did a 4-day discussion schedule. It was really interesting to listen to that. And then they had a lot of time for unit mapping work time. And then if you go online, I did include the staff feedback, and that is the feedback from the vocabulary portion. It's interesting. So every time the edX are people here, they have the staff do a reflection of how things went, and it's always super positive. So and I have to say, like when I was meeting with anybody on their observations, they're like, well, Missy told me I need to be working on this. So it's really nice that they have that. It's having that third party come in and tell people what to be working on. So our audit is complete, and we can skip most of this because we've already talked about that. The classified have voted. So on Tuesday, February 10th, we received notice from the Employment Relations Board and OEA that the classified staff had voted to unionize. I guess they had voted, I know they had voted in the spring, and then they re-voted because they had some members that maybe weren't on board, but they went ahead and approved it anyway. So it was kind of like a do-over. They did it again. Shannon completed the information that was requested because we had to give them a list of people that we thought would be part of that union. There's about 10 members, and we posted the notice in an email and in the employee break room. We're just waiting for next steps from them. That will mean probably having a group together to do a contract. Super exciting. Anyway, staff, and we've already kind of talked about at the March 10th board meeting, we'll have a list for you to approve. Once they're approved, Shannon actually has the letters already ready to go, dated March 11th. They'll have until the 31st to say they're coming back. This is when we can then plan, who's coming back, who's not coming back. And then after that, probably I would say mid-April, we will, it says provided on or before May 1st. We're going to provide it probably mid-April that we get that. We do not anticipate any reduction in force at this time. There are no job postings right now. Update, the safety drill had to get moved to Wednesday. That's tomorrow. We're doing a lockdown and evacuation. That's a pretty easy drill to do. We had ecos coming on Thursday and we didn't want to disrupt your scheduling, so. Monthly safety notes, there was a safety meeting last week. And we're trying to meet, I mean, Dawn and runs it, Sarah Grace takes the notes of that every, and I would say things that they were worried about. We still have that, Mitch bought a sledgehammer, so we're hopefully gonna get rid of that. The rocks are kind of being a problem, the rocks out here, because they are creating holes. And so one of the things that we're gonna do is get some landscape fabric, which we have a lot of, and just get some dirt and fill in the holes and put landscape fabric so it doesn't keep going
Wash out.
down. Yeah, so we have
They
to
should have,
wash
I'm
out.
surprised that wasn't
I was surprised.
a factor. In the install.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
great. That's what you get.
Yep,
That's what you get, what you
that's
pay for. Anyway, projects, I actually printed out the OD facilities assessment and the ADA assessment reports, so I can kind of go through them. I'm finding, like, one thing is, I need to talk to Brett about this, like, our HVAC system, they rated as fair, and they said it was a bunch of mini splits. I'm like, and that is not, and it wasn't a central system. So the guy actually didn't understand our system, and I just want to clarify a few of those things for them. Oh, the projector in the gym, probably not gonna happen this week or next week. It's been a slow process with my friend from Gorge Video. We're hoping it's capping at sometime soon. He told me it would happen either this week or next week. Project to consider would be the kitchen upgrade, and we really need to kind of have a good plan for that. I don't think it's gonna be as costly because we're not gonna do cabinets, we're gonna do racks. Painting the outside of the building, and the Maid for Mosier has they're going to use some of that funds going towards the funding of the painting. My guess is gonna be probably $100,000. I mean, painting's gonna be expensive. But paint is like, a painting for my house was, just paint itself was like $1,000.
Pre-work before the
Yeah.
finishing.
Yeah, and so we're gonna get 3 bids for that and then start working on that. I'm going to go to the Mosier alumni, high school alumni on April 4th. I want to have the bids in place. I want to tell them, and I'm going to have a QR code that they can donate that day. That was my mistake. I didn't make last year, so.
Marie?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, we had discussed the asbestos.
Oh, yeah.
At the last meeting. I wonder if we're getting bids for that.
We have bids for that already,
Okay.
so it would be $109,000. Now, we did try the TAP grant that we thought we had, and what we have found out with TAP, any sort of grants from ODE, they really are only for looking at it, designing, no construction. They don't do anything with construction. So that was not the information I was given, and so we just are gonna let that thing go. And then, but what she did say is they have so the ODE, Lene, can't remember her last name. She is from ODE. She is actually doing Renew Schools America grants for 7 schools in Oregon. They're on the following year, and she's having some issues and stuff. And so we were a good resource for her. And I offered Veronica to her in kind. She is sending us some grant opportunities for asbestos and all that. She also said, because we have an HVAC system that we put in, that the DOE would let us use some of our money for asbestos and so I'm gonna ask, so that's a question we're gonna ask Christian. Because the windows came in almost $5,000 under what we needed, and we had a windows to it. So good, so yes.
Yeah, because as we think about the kitchen upgrade.
Yes.
We have asbestos piping in the kitchen and in the lunchroom, so if, I'm just thinking order of operations, and there is no safe amount of asbestos exposure.
Yeah.
And it just seems, if there's any projects that are gonna happen in the kitchen, I mean, I know that the building repaint is important, however, I would
prioritize, no, I agree that
just for
is a
the
priority,
safety of.
But that's why, the
I'm just-
Tiger's Den
yeah, yeah.
doing it
I'm
instead
just
of the
hoping it's still on.
necessary stuff has to be through the board, but
Yeah.
the fun stuff. is
Yeah,
through
yeah,
the-
and I'm not, I'm just saying, like, I hope something.
I'm hoping I'm going to get, some money out of the DOE grant. That hopefully that we can use some of that money for that. She did give me a couple other things. The other thing is, she did give us, for any sort of lead pipes, which I'm sure our water has lead pipes in it. Maybe it doesn't, I don't know.
It's been tested.
It's
for
been
it.
tested.
It's been tested and it's come out clean.
Well, that's the water going through. I don't know. I'm gonna talk to a plumber and just see what they think, because they can actually give you money to replace those pipes. And we do need, like, that was the other thing, like, when you talk to Mitch, she's like, and one of the biggest things we need to take about is replacing our water lines, because they're really old, so.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, we gotta keep going, team.
I think that's it for me.
Sorry. No, you go ahead. There's just a lot more.
So you can skip 9, because we're not ready for that, because we're not finished with it.
Oh,
When is that alumni meeting?
April 4th, if you want to come to it.
I might get that website.
Okay.
well, actually, what you all were just talking about also goes, dovetails right into 10 nicely. So
Yeah.
facilities and fundraising plans. That was something that was on our calendar for February, like on our master calendar for board meetings. But I didn't coordinate with anybody about it to know if that's actually right for today's meeting.
I think we might, let's skip that one for right now.
Okay, so
Are we skipping the mid-year review?
we skipped.
Yes, because
number
we're not
9.
finished.
We're not finished.
Yeah,
So next
2,
meeting.
3 still have quite a few kids to test.
So that'll be for March, and then also 10 for March.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, next one, update from the ED Evaluation and Contract Committee. We've met with Michelle, so just a reminder, it's Julia, Dan, and myself, and Michelle. We've met with Michelle and looked at her current contract and started talking about updates that need to be made for a new contract. And we're continuing to work through that. There's not that much that needs to change, which is nice. And then in that process, it came up pretty quickly that we need to also have a good, smart succession plan for Michelle. Slowly retires. So we just wanted to double check, and Dan and Julia and Michelle fill in what I'm missing, but we just wanted to check in with the board to see if that committee who's working on the contract with Michelle can move forward with doing some succession planning and bring it back to the board, or if you'd like a different committee to do it. We just didn't want to do the work without having the board aware and have everyone's blessing.
I think that's great. If you guys all wanna do it.
Yeah, Julia, Dan, did you want to add anything to that?
No, we just want to make sure that we're outward facing with what we're doing in that committee, and that, it is, plus the same topic as kind of the expansion of that topic, so we'll make sure the board was aware. And if you feel like you need to make a new motion, we can do that. We get all on the same lines with the contract negotiation.
Julia, anything from you on that update? Okay. Okay,
Great.
good. Yeah, so we'll keep moving forward on that. The next step is to schedule another meeting for us. We can do that offline. And then update from the MTA contract committee.
We need dates finalized for 4-day and any other changes that are gonna happen prior to.
Right, and
Start and stop.
yeah, and I did meet with them today, because I meet with them monthly, and I'm gonna, because Veronica kind of done like what's currently in the contract and what would need to change. And she looked through it some, just, from that business part of it. And I'm gonna share that with them so they can kind of look at it, and then we need to have, I think we're really close, like, if the calendar was done, that would be really helpful at some point, because that's gonna move that conversation a little bit. So we've been keeping the teachers all updated on the prep time. We showed them the schedule. They're super excited about the schedule. They like, I can't believe how much time I'm gonna have. So they seem very excited about that. Everybody's prep time is at 45 minutes. And everybody gets to have their partner with them during the part time, except for middle school. That's just hard for us to do, so. Anyway,
I just had a note on the contract negotiations. It may be nice just to clump the 4-day contract negotiation together with the classified staff contract. Certified staff.
I'm gonna tell you,
The new
that's not gonna
union
happen, that's not gonna happen. I
No.
mean, I think that we get the MTA contract
Mhm.
set and then know that whatever language we use there, well, it's also gonna be very different language, right? Because they don't have
That's true.
prep time and things like that.
Yeah. We tried
Starting,
to do it before.
starting at
Disregard,
ground,
disregard.
starting at ground zero with the classified, that contract's not gonna be in place until
Next year.
yeah, I don't foresee that.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm, I don't know, I just don't foresee that, so. Anyway, so I think that, but they're like both Janet and, Lisa are super like ready to go on it, and we're just, it's that one article 4 that we just need to kind of update, so.
So as far as firming up the 4-day next year's school calendar, we can't do that, or we're not doing that, or can we do that
Can we do that
before
today?
the survey goes out?
Well, I still have the transportation, on the Friday. I'm unclear, if it ends at 2, do we have a bus now at 2?
I don't know, we probably have to get a bus at 2, so. There's no way, like, they're on a Friday. Just to be honest, like, it would be really hard to keep kids here till 4 o'clock on a Friday. I just think that we're already asking our staff to work full-time. And then we're adding Fridays. So I just think like, just to be quite honest, I think that's why we like shortened the day there. We already have we have a bus that comes at 2:15 right now. We already have a bus that comes at 2. Yeah, but I don't know that they drop off
I'm
kids.
still unclear as to if
So
this
one of them
transportation.
We're gonna have to pay for it. We're gonna have to pay for it.
One of them drops off. So one of them
Oh.
comes directly from the bus barn.
Okay, well, there we
And
go.
the other one comes and drops some high school kids off. on
So
there.
we'll just use that bus.
Or maybe he only does that on Wednesdays, actually.
So
I'll early release
so
on
it's
Wednesdays
something that
and
we have to look into.
Just transportation.
What's the commitment so far that's gone out to the community is that there will be
Right.
Friday options
Yeah.
until 2:15-ish, and that there will be transportation on those days. But we just have question marks around cost.
Yeah.
And yeah, more to come on that. But, so as far as getting the calendars approved, do we need to wait until the survey results are in?
Well, looking at, Julia, are you on there?
Yeah.
Do you want this, you skipped 13.
Yeah,
Does that
she's
matter?
on.
The policy, does that matter?
Yeah, you want to do
Yeah,
policies?
I didn't mean to skip
think-
it.
I was like, you do the policy at like.
Let's do the policies and then go to that.
Okay, I just was
Sorry.
asking that question because Dan said the MTA
Oh,
contract
yes,
needed the 4-day
yes.
calendar, so that was stemming from that. I wasn't trying to
No,
jump around, but yeah, okay, so we're pausing anything else on
You
the 4-day
try to do it.
really quick. But we do have policies to review, and I just wanted to provide a little bit of context for this because we have a first reading of one policy, JHFE GB NABAR 1, and it's reporting of suspected child abuse of a child. We already did that policy, but we had the wrong policy.
Oh,
So it was just slightly outdated, and this is what I sent in the folder is updated from OSBA. And so that's the first reading of that by title only. And then the second reading, I'll let Michelle do that just to be good on our process. We also have 3 that need to be deleted. And this was just something that we didn't catch in the policy committee. The reason they're being deleted
I got 'em.
is because when we adopted other new policies, it negated the need for old policies. But when we were going through our list, we were just like updating them as we went. And so that's why we have those 3 that we're gonna motion to delete.
Okay. So this is the second reading of draft updated policies, JOB, personally identifiable information, KAB, parental rights, KABAR, parental rights, KBA, public records, KBA-AR, public records, KGC/GBK, prohibited use, distribution of sale of tobacco products or inhalant delivery systems, KGF/EDC, authorized use of public charter school equipment and materials, KK, visitors to public charter school facilities, KL, public complaints, KL-AR, public complaint procedure, KN, relations with law enforcement agencies, KN-AR1, relations with law enforcement agencies, KNAR2, investigations conducted on school property. We need a,
Can we entertain a motion? Yeah, Tiff.
I'd like to, make a motion that we approve the second reading of the policies as read by Michelle.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Marie. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion passes. And then
delete.
let's delete those. There's actually 4.
Okay, so the first one is JHCC and JHCCAR. The school adopted recommended revisions to the policy.
That's just the rationale.
Oh, the
Yeah.
why, okay. And then JHCCA, JHC, and then
JHCC, JHCCAR.
okay,
2 separate.
yeah.
Great.
So
Motion to delete those.
I'll make the motion. So we delete those policies.
And a second, Tiff. Thank you. All those in favor? Motion. Thanks, Julia. Motion passes. Great. Thank you so much. Okay. And then, let's see. So we were chatting quickly about the 2026-27 schedule committee. And there were some questions on the survey going out and needing timeline, needing to go out soon. So Julia, did you want to provide an update on that? I know you're working on it.
Yeah,
you go.
I'm happy to provide an update. We have a draft survey. It's gone through a couple rounds of feedback. There was some teacher feedback, and there was also feedback from Michelle and Emily and Sarah Grace, maybe Dan too, I can't remember, on the first round. And I was sort of doing a stagger, trying to get those questions ready. So my plan is to send it, now that I input today the teacher feedback, to send it to the stagger to the other board members for you guys, or all of you, and you guys can give me feedback. What I will say is some of the feedback we got is just to try to keep it really concise, especially considering that we're going to need to translate it, and a lot of people will be answering it on their phones. And there are 2 questions where the teachers asked whether we needed those questions. One is between the 3:45 and 3:50 end time. The teachers kind of unanimously sounded like preferred the 3:50 time. And the question I have is whether we still want to take the temperature of the community and just see if that's starting to feel too late for folks, and keep the 3:45 as an option, or not. And then the other was around Thanksgiving break. And I think this is the one that actually would impact. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, but
Yep.
Michelle's trying to jump in.
Yeah,
real quick on that
can we
last
start
piece.
with that one first? So, and the teachers made a really good point, like the bus literally does not get here till 3:50. Having kids just hang around for 5 minutes is going to be bad. And that they felt like it just seems like we're asking, like, we love that we're taking temperature of people, but asking for little things like that just seems a little bit, yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah, it's 5
5
minutes.
Yeah,
And
but
they
5
felt like that
minutes
was one question we could just get rid of and just do the 3:50.
And we were saying that, like, because we're here, we know what 5 minutes can do
Yeah.
with kids. Whereas people who aren't here all the time will think it's just 5 minutes, it's not a big deal, but having kids stand around for 5 minutes is.
Because we experience
Yes.
that every Wednesday when the bus is late.
It's like,
Because on Wednesdays, they're late because they have early release. And that is when we have issues at the middle school. We had a kid get hurt the other day. Like, it just is, it's like, the best case for us is that we have buses waiting and we're walking kids out to buses that are waiting. At 3:45, we are not going to have a bus waiting. And at 3:50, we're gonna have a bus waiting. And so it just seemed like that could be, that 5 minutes, like if somebody, if the reason was because they're going to take their kids somewhere at 3:45 to make it to ballet class or whatever, that's usually a 1 day a week thing, and it's very limited people that are doing that the general population does not pick up their kids early. So we just felt like that was a question that we didn't really need to ask. So
Well, I'll just counter with two things. One is that we will have our own bus, which should be here at whatever hour we want it to. There won't be both buses. And then also the parents that pick up their kids that don't ride the bus can come at 3:45. But and so, those children could be picked up and could make it to Hood River by 4, which was part of my thinking. But it is only 5 minutes, so it seems pretty trivial. If it's not worth a question, I'm happy to remove it from the survey to simplify the survey. So I'll just throw that out there and maybe just ask the board members that haven't reviewed yet, which is most of you, to just give me feedback on that, having heard what you heard tonight, if that's okay with everyone. And then the second piece is on the yeah.
So and I'm gonna just kind of throw this at you. Hood River now is taking the whole week off, and North Bosco has the whole week off. So it seems like to be in alignment with our neighbors that, and I am one that was like, I think we should go the Monday and Tuesday, but I do understand, like, if I have a 6th grader here and I have a high schooler there, it just seems like we should be trying to, we try to get out about the same time they do. We try to start school the same time we do. We take our Christmas vacation the same time we do. We take our spring break the same time we do. It just seems like, and I did rework the calendar. I added, if you look at the family calendar, I added the 17th, it would be our last day of school instead of the 16th. So I added a day of school, and it did give us an in-service day, and it did not change everybody still has more instructional time than they had previously.
And the teachers they had thoughts on this as well.
I would say all of the teachers wanted the week off with the exception of one.
Okay.
And
He was more concerned with the perception.
the perception. Yeah. And
I don't know if this part got said, Michelle, but the other question was whether or not folks wanted to keep a full week of vacation for Thanksgiving or wanted to have 2 days of school. And so what Michelle's saying is that the other schools, the neighboring schools, are having a full week of vacation. And that there was also strong staff support for maintaining a full week of vacation. So maybe we eliminate that sort of a question as well.
And that's a change for Hood River, because Hood River has traditionally has gone to school on Monday and Tuesday. And so they just changed their calendar to take that week off. And so had Hood River stayed with that going, I probably could have understood that. But now that both of our neighbors are going to be out that week, it just seems like that would be a tough week.
And I think we'd end up having a lot of kids absent.
Sure. Julia, so you want input from the board members on removing the question on 3:50 or 3:45, and then also the Thanksgiving vacation week. Was there anything else that you wanted specific input on today?
No, I was just going to say on the Thanksgiving week, if Michelle wants to make that executive decision and we want to approve that, then I think the calendar can move ahead. I don't think that there's anything else on this that's holding up the calendar on the survey. So it's just that Thanksgiving week question. And if we eliminate the question and decide to approve the calendar as reworked, I think we're done on that piece. It doesn't matter if we do 3:45 or 3:50 question or not.
Okay.
Go with 3:50. Sounds good.
And full week off.
Full week off. It's all good.
If that's what neighboring does, then that's what we should do.
Okay, any concerns on that or any questions, any comments?
I'll make a motion that we approve the calendar as submitted tonight.
Okay, Tiff seconded. All those in favor?
And knowing that we often change our
Yeah.
calendars.
It's kind of a living document.
It is a living document.
From time
I
to
am
time.
trying to put, and this is something new, I do like having the two different ones. I'm trying to put the date at the top, so we know, so we always know that, and that was, yeah.
Okay, so let's see, sorry, going back, so, Marie, did you want to, are you in favor, or did you want to register a poll?
I'm just gonna abstain from voting.
Okay,
Cause I'm unclear as to, were the survey questions sent out to some board members and not others, or?
yes, so the survey questions, I reviewed the survey questions, and Michelle, I don't know if you did. And then they're going to go out to everybody, but what Julie was just saying is that the survey questions can be, they can still move forward on their timeline, but it's not impacting the calendar.
Right, and
They don't
she
have
did
to
say,
do that.
you're right, they did not go out to everybody, so. So.
I think the intention is for them to be reviewed by everybody. I just started with a small subgroup to make sure I was kind of getting it right as far as a baseline of like we were covering the right things. So I started with Michelle and Emily and Sarah Grace, and then the intention was to move to everybody. They all were also then shared with teachers. And we got staff input, which I wasn't part of, but I'm happy to take feedback from everyone, which was what we had discussed at the last board meeting. It has just moved a little bit slower than anticipated.
And so ideally, you'll be able to send those questions out to the board like this week so that we can get the survey out soon, because we don't want it to conflict with the survey that's going out to
feel
families
like
on March
We need to
2nd.
share these ASAP, because like the survey needs to go out now, because I don't want it to be, and it needs to have a short time frame. Like, here's a survey, you have 6 days to, like, I don't know, a very short time frame to do it. And then I know that you talked about following up with the people that did not do that, which I guess would be okay. It's just that we've already scheduled the youth truth survey for March 2nd, and I just don't want it to, we don't want to over survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say there are time sensitive things that the survey was influencing, like the start and the end time and the calendar. But if those things are eliminated, it's becoming more about how the Fridays are structured and how many families will utilize Fridays, which feels like a slightly less time sensitive and urgent. So I'll just share, like, that information is very valuable, but it doesn't impact our calendar or our hour planning. It's a slightly different kind of information, which I think is very valuable to collect from the community. The other piece was whether or not folks wanted an early drop-off option. But that also seems like something that doesn't impact our calendar and is something that we would then, as a school, figure out if there was a high interest in having that.
Yeah,
those happen.
it is, all of that stuff is important to get input on sooner than later also, though, because it's gonna impact our budgeting process. So does it sound doable to everybody to get the survey out, like, beginning of next week? Have some time for board members to review it and then send it out in pairs for next week?
I think, yeah, it would have to be,
sooner.
it would have
Or
to be
sooner.
like,
Because
because
March
March
2nd
2nd is when, so we're at the 17th, so basically that's just like a week and a half.
well, we could get it out this week.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's fine.
It's getting shorter.
Yeah, the main feedback was to make it shorter, so I can send it out tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. Thank you,
Just
Julia.
a quick revision on the count. We've already found it.
Oh, no.
And it's really not huge. It's just like the start and stop time. I had the two separate start and stop times.
Only on the.
Oh, it's only on the, yeah, it's only on the employee calendar, so I'm just gonna update that. So I don't think it really matters that
Okay.
much, so.
Yeah. Phew.
Everyone's starting and stopping at the same time.
Okay.
Okay,
Love it.
awesome. Great. Backpack program, Marie, anything to share out?
I don't have any major updates. Dan, I'm trying to get some numbers. He would ask last meeting about what the increase in participation or decrease was for the backpack program that serves the North Wasco School District schools. And so I'm hoping by next meeting I should have.
Great. Anything fundraising wise?
Yeah, we're just right in the middle of the readathon, and so we've got 67 kids have participated, whether they're fundraising or registered, and we've ordered the student design t-shirts, and so it's been wonderful.
Great. Anything else on facilities?
No.
That darn slide,
Well, I
though.
know, it's just.
No way.
Yeah.
No
still,
way.
well,
Yeah, we're working, it's been a thing, sorry.
We're gonna celebrate.
Who would've
We're gonna
thought? Who would've thought?
Get some apple juice to break on that slide.
What's it actually?
What about, Jen, what about the middle school vision and voice committee?
One of our parents on the Vision Voice is coming back again and organizing a river days for middle school for kids to go down and do some science at the river. And we're trying to add in Nichols Landing and maybe some paddleboarding for when we cross. We're working on that right now.
Awesome. Good, very cool. Anything from Tigers Den?
Made for Mosier is May 2nd.
Deep into planning for that, and, yeah, we have a committee meeting for it later this week. Not too
And
much
garden
for-
as well.
Yes, tomorrow.
The garden committee's meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
To talk about how to best support the teachers in getting out there this spring. And then also talk about, getting composting set up in an outdoor classroom.
Yeah, and if I would, been thinking about this, at some point, maybe expanding a little out of the garden, just because the front area could use, like.
Out in the berm?
Well,
no?
several
The
areas.
little bed as you walk
The
up?
little bed as you walk up, it needs, like, it used to have like a little pathway through it, it needs some cleaning. We need to probably get some plants for that metal thing, I'm still trying to figure out how we can move the ginormous, that metal sculpture where it needs to be out a little bit. We talked about your tractor.
Bring it down if you want.
Huh?
I can bring it down.
It might need that. And then what's gonna go into that section, it needs to be something, I think we talked about planting stuff in there, and then in the spring, going back to the middle school and kind of fixing that up, and if we're gonna put sod in there or not, so we have, like, it seems like it almost could be a work day, like we would have a Saturday that we would invite lots of people, and then maybe assign, like, somebody is in charge of each, like, place that needs to be done that way, and then you get a competition, I don't know.
Well, I did just mention to our garden committee, people that walking by the one right here outside of the lunchroom, I'm like, I gotta like, me personally, I was like, we gotta do something there, I gotta like, get it, yeah.
Well, the lady that used to take care of it has retired, and she's like, she's done. And actually,
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
And actually, the one out in front with all the overgrown American grape, now would be a good time to have some, because I think she's, I to ask her about moving the plant, she's okay with it.
Oh, good.
Great. Okay, so we'll talk about all that and report back next time. And I think with that, the only other item was looking ahead to next month. We know that we have a couple items that got pushed from this calendar or this agenda to the next. Is there anything else that you all can think of on the top of your minds right now that we need to talk about in March?
Just another FYI, skate night brought in $800 for the 8th grade promotion, which made Melina a happy camper. So.
Well, she did a great job promoting it, and it was a wonderful skate night.
Yeah,
I
it was.
don't know if you want to report out on state testing based on the timeline.
Next time.
Yeah, next time.
Would you
Yeah,
want
next
that
time.
on there?
Okay, thank you. Great, and then we could entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, both in favor. Awesome, Julie's in, okay, thanks folks.